Pigweed here. Today we review a barley wine and ask, how do we understand Iran? Or is it Persia? Okay.
Hey, good evening, Pigweed.
Good evening, good evening.
How about some beer and conversation?
That sounds great. What are you drinking?
Yeah, so this is the barley wine. It's a homebrewed barley wine.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
even
very
better.
good.
Even better.
So what's on your mind?
Well, there's all of this hubbub about what's going on in Iran. People
Not just hubbub. We got like aircraft carriers.
People are in the
yeah.
streets and people are getting shot.
Right,
and it's a mess. And
Yeah.
you hear people being interviewed in the West.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not even Muslims.
Right.
It's like, what is if you're not paying attention to this, Iran is it's right in the middle of the Middle East. So
Yeah.
it's just another Arab-speaking Muslim nation with the same background that everybody else has.
That's what everybody thinks, but it's not Arab.
It's not at all any of those things. So let's dig into that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fantastic. But first, let's dig into this. So this might be a little premature for drinking this. This is a homebrewed barley wine.
Okay.
It's basically using English malts and just a lot of them. And
Right.
English malts, English hops, very strong, probably in the 9% range.
Hoo-ha.
And there you go.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. It's, I'm feeling that right down to my gut.
It's strong.
It's
yeah.
strong. I believe it's a niner.
It's strong, and it's
That's
not
nice, but it's got all those. It's got all those good English dark malts.
Yeah.
And it's it's right color wise. Sometimes they're a little bit lighter. Sometimes they're there's a range of barley wine.
It's
darkness.
it's a little cloudy, honestly.
Uh-huh.
I wish it was a little clearer. I should have used some finings to clear
Yeah,
that
you
out.
usually don't think it needs it, but maybe
I know. I think it might have needed it.
Right.
And so this is an early taste at it. Barley wines, you can age them for a while. So maybe we'll try this again in 6 months and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't drink it all by then.
Well, I've got some bottles I can put away. So yeah,
Hide them from yourself.
that's right. Hide them away.
So, when you think about the 4th and 5th century BC,
Yeah.
here we are in the West. You're going. That's the heyday of the Greeks,
Yeah.
right? That is. That's our three big philosophers.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, you got Plato and Aristotle and all these guys.
Socrates,
Yeah.
and then the playwrights, and Pericles, the leader, and the birth of Athens and Athenian democracy, and all
Sure.
of that. There's something else going on at the
There
time,
is.
but
There
right about
is.
the same time. You don't
Big conflict with Persia, right?
with Persia, who's just across the Mediterranean.
They
there.
were one of the first great empires.
This
Yeah.
thing, look at this map I have here.
Yeah.
This thing stretches. What do we have? We've got Libya and Egypt over here in the west,
All the way into India.
all the way to India, and this is across through Turkey,
into Slavic country.
yes,
up there.
into Bulgaria and Romania. I mean
And then
that is
way
nuts.
up north too. Like that must be Pakistan up there.
Yeah, I think we've got like Tajikistan, like one of
Okay.
those newsstands.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So this thing
It was a
is
big
amazing.
empire. And the thing whenever I see something like this and I realize you're trying to administer this whole empire.
Right.
And you're like having your monthly meeting, and you're saying, what's the data from Libya? Well, we sent a rider over there 6 months ago. He should be back tomorrow.
Be back any day now to find out what was going on there.
That's
And
right.
then, and then you're like, all right, I guess we have to put that rebellion down, get
Yeah.
together an army. They got to
Right.
walk there.
Yeah, 2 seasons later.
And you get there and the problem's been resolved. And, well, somebody's getting their ass kicked because we walked all this way.
It's just crazy
I know.
how they administered this
I
stuff.
have no idea.
It is amazing.
So
but it was an amazing empire. It was
Right.
a very
And
big, powerful empire.
what is the name of the
Achaemenid?
Achaemenid? Refers to this time span
Sure,
of
yeah.
the thing. But they've got some pretty big names here.
Yeah, Cyrus, Darius, and Xerxes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's take them in order, with Cyrus being first. And what's so great about this guy?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was the great. He
was
conquered a lot of territory. One thing that's interesting about Cyrus is that Isaiah mentions him. So Isaiah is like 6th century BC.
But he's important to the Bible. Do the Babylonian exile bit.
Yeah, okay, right. So the Israel gets conquered by Cyrus.
Yeah.
And they're carted off to Babylonia. So, you had the fall of Israel, the northern kingdom.
No. not by Cyrus defeated the Babylonians and freed the Jews. It was the Babylonians, wasn't it?
Babylonians, that's right. The Babylonian exile is what it's called. So then Cyrus...
The Babylonians took they didn't take everybody. I mean, who did they take out of Israel?
It's all confusing because so they took the northern country, the Israel. There's Israel and Judah, right? I mean, under David and Solomon, you had the United Kingdom of Israel and Judah, and then it split apart after Solomon died, and then you had the northern kingdom of Israel, which got conquered and carted off.
But they didn't cart them off to slaughter them. I mean, they were still Jews being Jews.
Yes.
Right?
Well, to some extent, yeah. So, but they adopted some of the customs of the lands that they were brought into, which is why when they came back,
they're the Babylonian Jews are in town.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, you're the Samaritans. We don't think very highly of you because you're not.
Because how long have they been there? Like 60 years or something?
No, longer than that. They were there. So the northern kingdom fell like 150 years before the southern kingdom fell, and then they were all brought back a little later. So the northern kingdom was over there for a long time.
Okay.
The people from there.
So anyway, Cyrus pulls in. He says.
So he had this crazy idea of religious freedom. You know, he didn't care who you worshipped, and not only did he wanted to rebuild. He wanted to free the Jews and allow them to worship, and there were good things said about him. Isaiah says, "It is I who said of Cyrus, it is I meaning it's God. He is my shepherd and will perform all my desire." And he declares of Jerusalem, "She will be built, and of the temple your foundation will be laid." So Cyrus was the one who authorized the rebuilding of the temple after it had been destroyed.
Now I've seen like the marching in the streets that Iranians and Jews being pretty okay with each other. Like the Jews are going, "That's my guy." They still remember Cyrus as as a liberator,
right? And
the anti-Muslim Iranians are going, "I got no problem with the Jews."
Right.
It's kind of a nice thing. It's interesting. A street protest about the Middle East that doesn't devolve into violence.
That is interesting. So then another thing that's interesting about what Isaiah says about Cyrus is down here later on. I thought this was interesting. "I'm the Lord and there is no other. Besides me there is no God. I will gird you, though you have not known me, that men may know from the rising of the sun to the setting that there is no one besides me. I am the Lord and there is no other, the one forming light and creating darkness, causing well-being and creating calamity. I am the Lord who does all these." Now that doesn't sound particularly relevant, except that there were Zoroastrians.
Zoroastrians? Are the sword fighting?
That's a good one. So in Zoroastrianism, there's what is it?
Which is like the state religion of Persia at the time, right?
So there's the main guy is Ahura Mazda. He's the good god, and then there's the bad guy, who is what's his name? Sorry, I don't have his name written down. But
the idea is that this is in the time of polytheism.
Yeah. It was the first basically monotheistic religion, although it still had this dualism between these two guys. There was the good guy, Ahura Mazda, and there was the bad guy.
Right, but you can see a little God-devil thing going on here.
Yeah, exactly. And Isaiah is saying, no, wait a minute. God does all these things. God does good things and he does bad things. He creates light and he creates darkness. He creates good and he creates calamity. So don't try to divide everything up like that. So it was like basically a straight jab at Zoroastrianism.
Okay, yeah. But clearly an acknowledgement of that's the
religion of of Persia.
Of Persia.
Right. So I don't want to get too into that. It's just to say that Zoroastrianism had a big influence because, I mean, look at that empire we were looking at before. Yeah. Those thoughts covered a wide range, and they had a strong influence on Judaism and on Christianity later because of those thoughts getting spread around.
But it sounds so exotic because it sounds just like a dead religion. But,
right. And it basically is. I mean, there are very few Zoroastrians left in the world. The other thing about Zoroastrianism is we say Zoroaster, but our friend Nietzsche says Zarathustra.
Yeah.
Which is the original name.
Ah, okay. That's what
apparently Zoroastrianism is like, Zoroaster is like a Greek version of Zarathustra.
All right, so that's Cyrus here in the 500s, in the late 400s. Darius, who's he just expands, maintains the empire. Right. Seems to be a great builder. Those cities that are still over there are under Darius's time. But like we mentioned, that the Greeks were hopping at this time, and that's followed by Xerxes, who you all might know by the movie 300.
Yeah.
So that's when they say, all right, they build like this mile-long bridge to bring the army across into northern Greece. And anyway, so they.
So I was reading up about 300, and basically 300 is supposed to be Greek propaganda. That's not really the way it was.
You gotta give your people something to.
You gotta give them something to cheer for, yeah, and that's something. But you had these big conflicts. You had Alexander, who went and that's later.
Well, actually, but Darius was Marathon. So he was defeated by the Greeks, and then some dude ran 26 miles back to
and supposedly died
to share the news.
That's right,
and that's where you get your marathon. That's another.
So you had this big conflict between the Greeks and the Persians, and that you're right. The movie 300 is right in that time, but that conflict goes on for quite a long time, because the Persians are pushing. As we saw on that map, they're pushing right through that area.
And the after you beat up everybody, well, you got to find the toughest guy in town to show who.
That's right. And this gets back to that, what's going on over in Libya, and it takes 6 months to find out. It's like the Greeks decide they're going to rebel. I mean, how long does it take for Xerxes to find out?
To even find out.
It's going to be 6 months. You're going to have like 6 months of yay, we're independent, and then all of a sudden their army comes marching along.
So shortly after this, so then you still have your big old empire, and then you have Alexander the Great. Mm-hmm. He comes in and kind of spoils the party, and he stretches the Macedonian Empire into Persia and kind of ends this sweet time for the Persians. Does that sound right?
And apparently did some things that the Persians are still mad at him about. They don't call him Alexander the Great. They just call him Alexander because he did some nasty stuff in his conquest.
Sure, it was a rough time in history.
That's right. Yeah.
So now there were the Parthians.
Yeah.
Who were like cousins to they're also Iranians, but not necessarily Persians.
I think they're on the eastern side of Iran.
No, they're on the western side because they're the ones that are closest to the Roman Empire.
What was the group that was on the eastern side? There's some other name for them.
Yes, I know. The Sas.
Yes, there's an S word in there. That's right.
Right, so that's who So while the Roman Empire is trying to expand, they've got... they're sort of held back by the Germans in the north,
right,
and the Parthians in the east.
Sassanians.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go. But have a fun little etymology for you here.
Sure.
So the Parthians were great.
Talking about bugs?
No words.
No. Wait a minute. Etymology, that's bugs, right?
No,
that's entomology. Entomology. Yes, okay. So etymology.
Etymology.
Yes, etymology.
Yeah. So the Parthians were great horsemen. They were kind of like Mongols.
Yeah.
I've never even been on a horse at full speed, other than like a trot through the woods.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. But
you're going to do it while not holding on, because you're then accurately going to shoot an arrow while you're on the horse.
And,
what is it?
And supposedly they had this trick where the cavalry would come up, and then it would turn around and go the other direction, and the archers would shoot backwards, ride in full speed, and shoot back. And apparently, at times, the sky would just turn black with the arrows. There would be so many arrows.
That's my etymology.
Okay.
That turning around and shooting on was called a Parthian shot.
Oh.
Which is today's parting shot.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
They evolved into a parting shot. So that's where the parting shot.
Okay.
The Parthians. Anyway, they were Iranians, but they're not really part of our story. So let's move up to Muhammad. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so Muhammad, that starts in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long really quick. They just decided not only do we have a new religion, everybody must convert or die now. So like within 100 years, they had.
So I just read this book, the Sword and the Scepter, Sword and the Scimitar.
Okay.
And it's about the conquest of the Muslims through all these, and about the conflict, mostly about the conflict between the Muslims and the Christians. But Islam is basically designed to get a bunch of horny, angry, treasure-seeking people to go out because you can take as many non-Muslim slaves as you want.
Right.
You can take as much loot as you want. If you die, you go straight to heaven.
This could be awesome.
Right. And if you live, you can steal as much stuff as you want and you get all this loot and you have
pretty good appeal.
So it's pretty good. So it's like designed to get people to be involved in jihad and go out and conquer. That's like if that was your goal, to put together a people who wanted to go out and conquer and kill and destroy and rape and pillage, that's the religion you would create.
And who would have thought that?
Who would have thought?
Although these many years later, not that different. Anyway.
Yes.
So so this other map I had here. So when Muhammad dies, of course nobody can step into his shoes because he's God on earth. So it's not like
last prophet.
It's not like he got a successor. But he didn't even say, all right, from now on, when I die, you guys got to listen to this guy, right? So you had that was like a cousin and a brother-in-law or something like that. Why, you didn't have any sons?
I'm sure he had lots of sons.
I'm sure he did.
Maybe they all died. I don't know.
So then so the Sunni Shia split is, all right, who's going to carry on the mission, right?
Yeah, right.
And so if you look at this map here, you see the Sunni Shia map. You see all of Africa is Sunni. Saudi Arabia, Iran is completely a Shia. So that's kind of an interesting. I don't know why they took their own track. The thing that in our time that I was listening to said that there are Zoroastrian aspects to Shia that are different than Sunni.
That's interesting.
You have, Iraq is like is the closest thing to a 50-50.
Right.
It's like 60-40. And then everything else, there are pockets of Shia, but only Iran has an overwhelming Shia population.
That's interesting. Yeah, and it would tie in with if there were elements of Zoroastrian thought that went along with the Shia version of Islam, because let's go ahead and talk about this now. The thing about Iran is they think of themselves as sort of culturally Zoroastrian. Even though there are very few Zoroastrians left,
right?
It had such an impact on the culture that they're sort of culturally Zoroastrian in the way that like Richard Dawkins is culturally Christian.
Okay.
And so you have this underlying sense of the culture in Iran that I can see how if Shia Islam, and I don't know much about the difference between Shia and Sunni Islam, but if it fits more with Zoroastrian culture, it would make sense that would translate into this difference here.
So here we are. So this is 600 or so, right? That's when when the Muslims are expanding, colonizing, genociding, and
right,
wrecking the place.
If you could go back in time and kill Muhammad
and stop one event in all of history, I would skip over Hitler in a minute.
I'd go kill Muhammad. Yep.
So I don't really. So then it becomes part of the Ottoman Empire.
Right.
Does that sound right? I mean, it was just skipping up a few centuries here, just moving right along, Can we go to the Mongols?
Yeah.
So we're talking about, like the 1200s. The part that the Mongol invasions of Iran, I have 219 to 258, but all of that's
1219.
Like the 12s.
Millions of people were killed.
Boy, they just did not mess around.
They
and the
did
thing
not mess
is,
around at all.
When you talk about that kind of large-scale killing, you could go, well, yeah, maybe if you had nuclear bombs. I mean, you were literally killing one arrow and one sword stab at a time.
Right.
And I heard So the numbers I got, they're going, well, yeah, these numbers may be exaggerated, but they're saying a lot of people say things like it went from 2.5 million to 250,000, like a 90% wipeout by Mongols.
Wow. So my understanding is that when they would do things like this, they would basically surround a huge area.
Yeah.
They would capture everybody on the inside, and they would progressively move them in until they had everybody stuck in one area, and then it would just be days of slaughter.
Yes, and doesn't matter. It's kids, cattle,
right? And whatever got caught in that mix in the middle got killed, and they would just spend days riding around, shooting arrows, hacking people to death. It's just horrifying.
I imagine they would go back and get their arrows, right? I mean, you can't just keep making new arrows all the time.
I don't know. Maybe they just got their camp followers sitting out there making arrows.
I've heard that they also this is Dan Carlin's The Wrath of Khan series.
Yeah.
He said they will. So obviously that strategy you have about circling everybody, but people get through, and people run away, and as they would move on to the next place, well, there was a certain group that was just had their job is to circle back and get those poor sons of guns who ran out and hid the first wave.
Right.
When they came back to the city, we'd kill them too. And the irrigation equipment and anything of any value.
Right.
So
just annihilated cities.
So this is the I don't remember the numbers from the Dan Carlin show, but I do remember this. Is they killed so many people that Iran did not get to its pre-Mongol numbers until the mid-20th century.
Wow.
So it was 7 centuries to replace the population that was slaughtered by the Mongols.
Yeah. That's another guy that would be on my list.
I know.
Yes, I know.
Jeez.
Good grief.
I don't know. I mean, what was the legacy? Did they leave anything valuable behind after?
The Mongols?
Like you could say, when the Roman Empire ended, well, it gave birth to Western civilization.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that.
The aqueduct.
All right, Monty Python. Well, what did the Romans ever do for us? Yes, a lot. But I don't think you could say the same for which was the largest empire ever.
Except Genghis Khan is like the father of half of the people.
Everybody's got DNA.
Everybody east of Afghanistan is descended from.
There is a whole ethnic group and caste system in Afghanistan. If you've ever read The Kite Runner, that's in there. The Hazras, something like that. So there's a sort of a Mongoloid ethnic group in Afghanistan that is like the servant class, which are leftovers from the Mongol.
And they're servants because this is our getting back at
I bet it is. I bet it is. Because after, they didn't just slaughter. In some cases, they would slaughter everybody in this city. Yeah. Then they go to the next city and they go, did you hear about that? And they're like, yeah, we did hear about that. They're like, all right, pay up. Yes. They wouldn't, that was the extortion. All right. And it's right. If we're not just going to kill your leaders if you don't pay up, we will kill everybody.
Yeah, right.
And so, right. It's right. And not necessarily hanging around to be in charge to administer. Just say, look, we'll be back for our yearly tribute, and don't forget. But in the case of Iran, they set up a Khanate, I think is what it's called. Where the Mongols were running things for a few hundred years.
But what were they running? They're running things, but there's nobody left. There's nobody to till the fields. Nobody to okay, we want to get all your crops. What crops? What are you talking about? Yeah.
90%.
That's just horrible.
Anyway, so I don't really have much more on these guys until we get to do you have something between the 12th century and the 20th century?
Well, there is one thing that we missed, which was we should also mention that the wise men, the Magi, in the Gospel of Matthew were probably Persians, probably Zoroastrians.
Right, because they they have these turbans. They came from the east, right? Don't they say?
They were wise men from the east, and it's the Magi, apparently linguistically that relates to Zoroastrian priests. Fine. And also they believed in cosmic signs. They believed in a righteous king. These are all kind of hints that they were Zoroastrians. It's not for sure, but it's pretty.
But it did seem
likely.
like, just back to Zoroastrianism, from what little I know, that it was very much an ethical monotheism.
Yes.
Like there's nothing about the Greek gods. The Greek gods just do what they're capricious gods who do what they want.
Yes.
There's no emphasis on being good or righteous.
That's right.
And I think that was built into the Zoroastrianism.
Yes,
right?
and it seems analogous to the Greek concept of the logos, this idea that ethical realism is built into the cosmos in a deep way.
Okay.
So that ethical behavior is aligning with reality in a certain way. So I think that's kind of a common thread in Zoroastrianism and in some Greek thought.
Right. So we keep saying Persians, and let's address the opening claim was that it's not those things. They're not Arabs. They do not consider themselves to be Arabs, and they don't speak Arabic.
That's right.
But my understanding is like if a Russian person looked at Spanish and English, he said they look the same. And that's how Farsi and Arabic, it's the same alphabet. So to you and I, they would look the same,
but they're totally
different. But they're different languages.
Right.
They don't consider them, so they're not Arabs. They
Isn't
don't
the
speak
same
Arabic.
thing? I'm not sure about this, but isn't it the same thing with like Chinese and Korean or something, where they use the same characters, but it's a different language?
Well, no. Within China, that the Cantonese and Mandarin read the same newspaper. But don't sound the same when they speak it because it's not a phonetic language. Right?
Yes,
So it's just symbols. Yeah. You can say them any way you want.
There you go.
Where at least I think, in Spanish and English, F is a F.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so we're talking about Persians. We're talking about Iranians.
Right.
What's going on here? Is it Persia or is it Iran?
Yeah. So apparently, Iran means land of the Aryans. And so this idea of this Aryan race that Hitler was all into is an old idea. Iran is land of the Aryans, and that was their internal sense of who they were. They would call themselves Iranians. Persia was a Greek term for that land, and the official international split came under Reza Shah in 1935. So up until then, it was Persia. And then in 1935, it became Iran.
All right. Well, there you have it. Yep. And so now they're... And how's things going over with... How things go with the old Shah? And so have you seen these pictures, these like contrasting pictures where you've got Iran in 1975 and then, these burqa, these women in sheets.
Yeah, in 1975, you see a bunch of modern-looking women.
I mean, it's such... The city looks so modern, Yep. I mean, you just had kids going, women in skirts, and
just regular behavior.
Just regular.
And then the lunatic comes in, takes over, and the real question I have is, how did he do it? Because we think of Iran as a country full of screaming lunatics, but it's not that way at all.
No.
If you look at mosque attendance in Iran, it's very low.
Yes.
It's not as low as church attendance in Britain, but it's like in that range.
Interesting.
It's
down... along with those sort of videos that I was talking about, people reacting, there was another one of a, deeply religious Muslim going to Iran and going,
what's going on?
I mean, nobody seems to really care.
Nobody goes to Friday prayers. Like, what's going on? So, like, the mosque attendance and the regular things that Muslims would do, they just don't do in Iran.
Yeah.
And it's very, very low. It's like 19% of the population.
Ooh,
so
that's rough.
Yeah. So, like, how did the crazy Ayatollah Khomeini take over when...
I have an idea.
Okay.
Have you seen how insane university students can be? And
sure,
and there's screaming about things that are not in their own benefit, like Queers for Palestine.
Yes,
I'm thinking something like that is going on. Like these.
Well, it was mostly university students.
Yes, women. And what did the Orwell say about it's always the women who are the most hardcore and ready to go to the extreme.
Yeah.
So they're out there. They get wind of this. We're going to be part of a revolution. Shah is a bad guy. with no idea what they're going to replace this with.
Yes.
Right? And so they're the patsies, really, for the mullahs.
And that's a recurring theme
I don't really know any of this.
over the place.
This is my instinct.
This is your guess.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a recurring theme, though, all over the Middle East, where you have some guy who's not the greatest. Like he does some bad things, but he keeps order. Things go decently well. You've got a working economy, all this. And then we say, oh, we got to get rid of him because he, does these bad things, and we replace him, and we get something far worse.
I know. Here we've got here on our display in front of us of all of our previous shows. There's the dictator show, and I'm going Gaddafi, Hussein, Assad.
Right.
I'm going. I don't know.
We don't have a good track record.
Are we really better off getting rid of these guys?
Right.
Anyway, that's not the topic here.
That's right.
But anyway, so yes, I'm saying
university women were the problem.
Yes, the brain dead. They're more interested in feeling revolutionary than they are anticipating what the results of their revolution.
Because boy, it was such a good idea. Because now they used to be able to dress decently and do what they wanted.
Listen to rock and roll.
Get an education and whatever. And now they're stuck in burqas and they can't go to school.
Yeah, and there's the morality police beating you on the streets and for wearing burqas and whatever. So,
and if you get raped, then that's your fault. So,
yes. You need
Islam.
Four witnesses.
Islam is the devil's religion. It really is awful.
I got nothing to say about. I got nothing to argue about that. So let's talk about the thing. We go up to date here. Let's just say we're here in 2026.
Right.
Ready to jump that far?
Sure.
So so that was. I got one thing. I lived like 1, 2 or 3 houses away from Suitland Road, which runs straight into Andrews Air Force Base, which is where the president goes in and out of. And when the Iran hostages came home, that in the Beltway overpass was this big welcome home and these yellow ribbons and everything.
Right.
It was in my backyard. This end of which ended the Carter administration and brought in Reagan, and so it was a big deal. And it's not been that great for them, and they have been the world's sponsor of terrorism ever since. So they just seems like they are the biggest Jew-hating, West-hating sponsors. But I feel on the ground, I think if you get these people out, you will realize that your average Iranian is not on board with that.
Yeah, so I don't know a lot of Iranians. I know a few. And they say that, look, the majority of the people in Iran are not in favor of this craziness. And that if you could get rid of these lunatics at the top, then you would have a solid, free, I don't care if they're Democratic or whatever, but Democratic aligned or adjacent, right? It would be
pro-Western, peace with Israel.
Yes.
It would dry up the funding for Islamic terrorism everywhere.
Yes. It would be a huge thing if we could get rid of the lunatics in Iran and let decent people run that country. And it seems like
who is our decent guy in waiting?
Well, supposedly the Shah's grandson, nephew, something. I don't know where he is. He's like hiding out in London or something. Yes, and he's ready. He's ready to go back.
He's been ready for the last 50 years to and it does kind of seem that that's where it would go if the mullahs went on the run. Yeah, and they said, all right, what are we going to do now? I think you would and you would need that. Just like who you're just going are there a bunch of Madisons and Jeffersons just waiting to spring up and write a democratic constitution?
I wish. That'd be nice.
A unifying king like the Shah to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
And so what's going on? So there people are in the streets. They're getting slaughtered.
Yeah. So this is crazy. People are protesting against the repressive government, and they've killed 10,000 people or more.
Numbers are even worse than that. But
it's crazy. I mean, and. So they're getting away with this with with just executing people who are resisting the empire. And, I think of that quote from Star Wars.
Kids, when they, before you get to Star Wars, it's because they don't have guns. They took all the guns away. I mean, anybody who's got their bother about the Second Amendment, understand that's how you don't take your country back.
Yeah, that great political philosopher Princess Leia said, the more you tighten your grasp, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers. So I would like to believe that the more they repress, the more, it's not going to result in their demise. I don't know if that's true.
Now, there was an uprising during Obama's time. He didn't help.
He didn't help them at all.
So my question is, are we helping?
Well, I hope we are. And I'm not saying that I want, some great big war. I don't want us going in and fighting.
No, I'm thinking in what other ways could we be helpful?
Well, we be helpful?
I know one is that apparently they have been actively smuggling Starlink into the country, right?
Because the word out.
Because the
Iranians shut down the internet. Yeah. The government, Ayatollah.
So you could get the word out, and then I can imagine college campuses are just going to erupt around the nation. Pro-Iranian marches will just be everywhere.
No,
there won't be.
There won't be.
How about CNN and all the heads of nightly news all day, every day about the atrocities of Iran? You seeing that? Watching a lot of that?
Not a word of it.
No,
it's amazing because
not a word.
It's amazing. So. One big part of bias is what you don't cover. Like right now, the fact that they're not covering what's going on in Iran and the repression and all that is part of the bias, is because they're trying to draw attention to the things that they want you to believe or they want you to be upset about, and that's not one of them. And this is, now on the one hand, like, who cares about Iran? There's how many countries in the world? 270 something. And like, why do we particularly care about Iran? I don't particularly care about Iran, but here's a situation where this evil government is doing evil things to its people, and
I'd be less concerned if it was just confined to its people, but. Hamas, Hezbollah, everybody's getting their funding.
The Houthis who were doing all that crap in the Red Sea.
You can't get through the Gulf.
Right, yeah.
So, so they have an international network of evil.
Yes.
And so, I'd like to see them go down now. Did we send the aircraft carriers that were hanging out in front
I think there's two aircraft carriers
in front
over
of
there now.
Venezuela.
Yeah, and we've got not only aircraft carriers, but we've been like airlifting a bunch of supplies into nearby countries. So we probably have a bunch of troops over there.
It's not like there's an actual armed counter-revolutionary group. I mean, they've got a pretty tight lid on this thing, and so I'm not sure exactly how you would do it.
Yeah.
And we're not doing boots on the ground. It isn't happening, but Trump's not going to do that. So, what other ways? I think the Starlink, access to information, getting the word out, that's a nice move.
Now, it is a nice move. Now, there is the big question of, does the president have the authority to bring us into a war with Iran? And the answer to that is no, he does not.
But what has that stopped anybody since?
I know.
Since World War II.
Not quite that far back, but you're right. I mean, we've had presidents just doing whatever the heck they want, and Congress just sitting there saying, "Oh, I guess that's okay."
You know what? You're supposed to ask us first, but oh well.
Oh well, it's done now. Yeah. So no, the president does not have the authority to just decide to go to war with Iran. But that's what we've been doing for.
Did we vote on a Desert Shield and Desert Storm?
No, they did some sort of like authorization of military force or something, and they did it like after the fact. It's all such a.
They're like, but even they're like, if it goes wrong, I don't want to be blamed for this. So they were really like pushing forward because they're just spineless.
It's so crazy because supposedly Congress is supposed to declare war, and I don't think you could get a declaration of war out of Congress against Iran.
No, but we just dropped the mother of all bombs on their nuclear facility. They didn't get that. Did that get congressional authorization?
Nothing
That's
happened.
the thing I'm talking about. I mean, can you send some missiles into some palaces and would that be the kind of thing to turn the army against its own? I mean, that's the only way it's going to work. Right? Yeah. You're going to have to, it's like a Russian style, like you are getting the army to switch sides, and I'm not sure what it would take, but I'm sure there are CIA minds that are working on this right now.
Probably not just CIA, but probably Mossad.
Who know them a lot better than we do.
Right.
And speak
so, I mean, who knows what they've got up their sleeves, but I don't want a U.S. involved in some sort of a war. I hope this can be resolved. It's not going to be a war,
but I don't mind some airstrikes. I mean, we do that kind of stuff all the time.
I don't mind these lunatic rulers in Iran suddenly ending up dead. I don't mind that.
I saw this is a positive note that Scott Bessent. Is that how you say this? The Secretary of the Treasury?
I think it's Bessent. I think.
Bessent. All right. Right, it looks like Bessent, but right, there's an N there. Bessent, he says he knows where every dollar, pound, and shilling or whatever is going, and he says a lot of money leaving. So, is that a precursor to them leaving?
Are we trying to get back the money that Obama shipped over there?
just crates and
just sent airplanes full of cash
and they're moving.
So what the heck was that about Obama?
That would at least be an indication of weakness, and that maybe the regime will fall. Yeah. Anyway, so let's just here we go. What got go ahead, make a prediction. Does it fall and give me a time frame?
Okay. So I think within the next week. So this is what? This is April 19th, February. This is February 19th. I'm saying within the next week, we're going to get some sort of military action against Iran.
Ooh,
and that I would say within 2 months, we'll see the fall of the Iranian government.
Well, that's very optimistic, and I'm going to get on board with your optimism.
Okay.
I'm saying, yes, this regime has faced some crises in the past, but I think the people are angrier. I think you got an American president more inclined to help you.
Yeah.
And I think the Zoroastrians get their country back.
and don't underestimate the Israelis helping out.
And they're helping out, and I hope they rename it Persia.
Yes, rename it Persia, and I want to see some pictures of Persian women going to college, getting an education, having jobs, behaving like regular people.
Yeah, with regular hair and regular skirts.
Yeah, and being free.
Just roller skating down the street.
There we go. All right, cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.